Hi everyone, Colin Shadwell back for another throwing tutorial. This time I'm doing the last of the cutout bowls that I started on earlier this week. This one's going to be a typical mixing bowl sort of shape, although it would not be very good to mix anything. This is going to have holes in it later on, and that would make your kitchen very messy. So as you can see here, I'm starting out with a typical palm pull going into a thumb pull here. As I said in the previous video, this clay had a lot of air bubbles in it from re-wedging it, so you can see I was kind of wobbling. I won't blame it all on the air bubbles. There was some inconsistent pulling there, but as you can see here, I'm just trying to get clay up into the piece and have a sort of diagonally out look to it. I don't want to start making the bowl shape right away. I like to kind of make just a general diagonally out shape that flares diagonally out, and then I use the rib tools here to achieve the shape that I want, always focusing on the inside of the bowl and wearing it out the outside of the bowl when I trim it later on. So all I'm looking for here, I'm just trying to hold my hands really steady and then letting the rib tool create the shape on the inside that I want. And then I'll smooth over just the top part of the outside, because that's the part I can't really trim later on here, because obviously I'm putting these pieces of clay. When it comes to trimming these guys, trimming kind of takes a little bit of practice, because you have to know how much clay to take off, and it's just kind of a do it enough times and you'll kind of realize how much it is. I have a tapping method that I learned when I was in college of determining how much clay is left. So you'll see me stop here, and when my hand goes for the clay there, I'm tapping it with my finger, and the sound of the clay is what lets me know how much clay I have left. So if I hear a thump, thump, thump sound, I know I have a lot of clay left, but if I hear a tap, tap, tap sound, I know that I'm getting pretty thin. So I'll stop and tap and see if I have the right sound, and it just kind of takes practice. A lot of times if you go too far, obviously you're going to make a hole in the bottom, which is never really good if you want a bowl, although I make holes in the sides all the time. So here again, I'm just smoothing everything out. Now when I go back and add some shadow marks here, you can see the clay is just the right dryness to this. If you have too wet clay, that shatter tool will not make the marks you want. You have to wait till it's at least leather hard, so that shatter tool will actually bounce off the clay as opposed to kind of carving the clay, which is what you don't want here. So I found this hole cutter tool, and I think I use this to use it on a drill. It's got a little pre-drill in the middle of it, so I was able to line these holes up perfectly. But I thought I wanted to try some bigger holes here, and my hole cutters don't make, I'm kind of set to a certain size here. So this makes about 1.5 inch hole, I think it is. So I went around and made all these holes all the way around, smoothing it out. It kind of makes a really rough hole because it's a very rough-edged blade. And now I'm just going to do making alternating marks to make little crisscross patterns around this. So I think I've used this pattern before, but it makes for a nice little design here as well. You really have to take the time after you cut all these out to come back with a sponge and smooth everything out, because this is basically rough cut. You have to come back and really take the time. If you want your piece to look good and want it to look professional and clean, it's a good at least 10 to 20 minutes after this on the piece even this small to go through and clean up these edges to make sure everything is smooth and nice and neat, because rough edges will definitely show up when you glaze. So taking the time here just to smooth all this out and then letting it dry some more, because I don't want to mess with it too much, because even as I add water here to smooth this out, it does kind of weaken those joints. So I want to make sure that everything's nice and smooth here. So I'm going through and just trying to recenter this on the upside so I can smooth the inside here as well. I don't think I put anything on the inside. I might have put a little stop and start line on the inside of this as well. I think most of the time I'm just sitting here cleaning this up because I'm just trying to get rid of some of those rough edges here. So when it's done, you can see I have a nice, cool little design with a shadow mark underneath it. This is still pretty rough. I will go eventually and smooth some of these edges up as well. But I like the series of bowls, and I hope you liked them too. Thanks for watching.